The sledgehammer was meant to open a wine cellar. 13 inches of 19th century brick, and then dirt. He swung. The brick gave way with a sound that wasn't just collapsing masonry. A crack split the darkness, not shadow, but a sliver of pure cyan light. The hole yawned open, and beyond it, a corridor of impossible blue-white light stretched down.
Please wait here. This will only take a moment.
That is not a wine cellar.
She reached for the phone with the unhurried movement of someone who had practiced for this exact moment. The corridor descended 3 levels, past anodized steel doors and glowing wall screens. A small American flag mounted at the far end. Rux stood frozen, the sledgehammer now hanging limp, as the woman gestured for him to stay, a small, calm motion. Beyond the broken brick, Patricia Cole put down her tuna sandwich and picked up the phone.
This is Cole, basement breach. 1 worker.
She set the phone down and folded her hands on the desk, watching the hole with mild interest. In the alley above, an unmarked black van braked silently. 4 figures in dark tactical gear emerged. They descended through a concealed sub-basement stairwell, moving with a speed that spoke of endless drills.
You are not Hessian. What is this facility?
The agents ignored him. One pressed a cylindrical device to the breach, and with a low hum, the hole began sealing over. Rux X stumbled back, but another agent caught his arm and guided him toward a metal door. In a small white room, a man in a suit slid a thick document across the table and gestured at the signature line. Rux's claw shook as he pressed the biometric pad. The ink was still wet when they pulled him to his feet. By the time the dust settled, the wall was whole again, a seamless metallic patch where the light had been, 3 floors above the silent basement. The consulate's morning routine shattered with a single, frantic knock at the office door.
Enter.
The aide who slipped inside was a junior attaché, his scales pale, his hands trembling around a datapad. He stammered out a report in broken sentences. A security incident in the basement, a breach in the sealed wall, human officials already on site, sealing a hole that was not supposed to exist.
Not supposed to exist. That wall was rated solid. What have they been hiding?
Voss set down his tablet with deliberate care, the soft click of the case louder than any shout.
Why was I not informed immediately? And what precisely did the humans seal?
The aide shook his head helplessly, scrolling through a datapad. The foreman said the workers were detained. We have no direct report, no vision. The humans are not communicating.
No details, no vision. Get me the Terran liaison. Now.
He stood, and for the first time since the renovation began, Voss Keller felt the ground beneath his consulate shift within the hour. A black Terran SUV pulled up to the consulate's private entrance.
This is too fast. They were waiting for my call.
The destination was a featureless glass tower in Midtown, bearing no public signage. Director Kamara rose to greet him with a smile that did not reach her eyes.
Thank you for coming, Chargé d'Affaires. I understand there was a surprising discovery in your basement.
I demand to know the nature of the facility you have concealed beneath my consulate.
The basement sits above a classified historical archive, a relic of pre-unification intelligence. The breach was accidental.
Voss's mind raced. The explanation was too convenient, too prepared, but he had no grounds to push.
I appreciate the clarification. I trust there will be no further intrusions.
On the drive back to Wall Street, Voss stared at the passing city. He had been handled, and he did not like it. That evening, Voss called his security chief. Scan the patch, debrief the worker. Report before dawn.
What is behind that wall? What did the worker see? Report before the humans spin another tale.
2 Hessian techs swept the basement with a portable scanner. The metallic patch glowed faintly under the oscillation beam. Behind the seal, the scanner detected active power signatures, regulated, modern, nothing like an archive. In a sterile room, Rux faced a Hessian officer. His sledgehammer lay on the table, dust still on the handle.
Bright blue corridor. A human woman at a desk. She told me to wait. Then they sealed it.
Active power duty officer. This is no archive. They were operating something.
Voss read the scanner report again. The energy pattern resembled low-level surveillance arrays.
They have been listening since the day we moved in.
He set the datapad down carefully, the weight of the truth pressing against his ribs. Below the consulate, Patricia watched the Hessian scanner sweeps on a monitor. The signals were clumsy but insistent.
They're probing the patch, Director. Non-invasive so far, but they won't stay gentle for long.
Let them probe. The shielding was built for nosier neighbors than a survey scanner. Stay passive, Cole.
Upstairs, Voss had stopped pacing. The technical path was blocked. He turned instead to the paper trail. He accessed the original property transfer from the Terran Federal Real Property Administration, dated 2389. The selling agency was the same one Kamara represented. The ink on the sale had dried decades before the Hessians ever toured the lobby.
They sold this building knowing exactly what was underneath. We were chosen.
He cross-referenced the Hessian property portfolio from the previous decade. The timing was too perfect. The incentive package suspiciously generous.
They didn't just build beneath us. They sold us the roof.
By dawn, Voss had assembled a file of his own, not of proof, but of intention. The ground floor wasn't just monitored. It was a stage. Voss opened the encrypted channel himself. The signal would not pass through the consulate's standard relays.
Charge d'affaires. I expected your call.
This is no archive. You sold this building knowing the facility was here. I demand the truth.
The facility is a matter of Terran national security. Beyond that, I have no comment. I strongly suggest you do not escalate. The archive is delicate, and so is diplomatic equilibrium.
She is telling me to stand down. Or else.
He summoned his senior staff to the consulate's secure meeting room. The air was thick with unspoken fear.
We cannot file a formal complaint. They already own the narrative. We are locked in.
The staff exchanged glances. A junior officer whispered to a colleague about moving her family off-world. By nightfall, Voss stood alone at the window, watching the city that had just shrunk to the size of a surveillance room. Voss ordered a full-spectrum sweep at 2 in the morning. Every wall, every fixture, every cable trench.
If I find their devices, I have leverage. If I find nothing, then I am truly powerless.
The techs worked until dawn. They scanned behind paneling, inside light globes, under floorboards. The report was 4 pages. No foreign signals, no unauthorized hardware, no anomalies.
Either their surveillance is beyond our understanding, or we are fools.
Below, Patricia logged the sweep. She sent a note to Kamara. They are looking for us. By noon, Hessian officers were meeting in the garden. Away from walls, nothing overhead but sky. At a briefing, an aide saw Voss staring at the concrete floor. He did not blink. Patricia watched the garden feeds on her monitor. They know, she murmured. They cannot prove it. But they know. At midnight, Voss sat alone in his dark office, lights off, watching the shadows. The consulate had become a prison. By noon, the invitation came, hand-delivered to Voss's desk by a Terran courier who did not speak.
Another meeting. She has chosen the ground, and it will not favor us.
The diplomatic lounge was neutral only in name. Polished surfaces, muted lighting, and no windows.
Thank you for coming on such short notice, Charge d'affaires.
She placed a slim folder on the table. No title, no watermark, just the Hessian consular seal on the corner. The logs inside were his own. Shipping manifests, coded messages. A trail of illegal arms brokering stretching back 18 months.
You have been watching us from the day we moved in.
Longer. We sold you the building because we wanted to confirm your activities. The breach was the only surprise.
Not a victim, a specimen. We were collected.
The file sat between them. And for the first time, Voss saw Kamara not as an adversary, but as a keeper of keys to his cell.
That facility beneath your consulate has been operational since 1962. It began as a U.S. intelligence station, then quietly transitioned to Terran Federal Authority during unification. In the 22nd century, we reactivated it. Your previous consulate in Manhattan had come under suspicion. We needed a closer look. The sale in 2389 was arranged. We offered the building at fair market value because we wanted you inside, right above us.
She paused, letting the silence stretch, then spoke with the precision of a closing report.
For 3 years, every Hessian communication, courier route, and document passed through 3 meters of brick directly into our receivers. The breach your worker created, that was the only unscheduled event in a perfectly executed 3-year operation.
Every deal, every secret, they cataloged it all.
You were never the owner of that building, chargé d'affaires. You were the exhibit.
Voss did not speak. The polished surfaces of the lounge reflected a broken reptilian silhouette. The operation had been flawless, until a sledgehammer swung in the dark.
Here is your path out, chargé d'affaires. Sell the building back to us at a small loss. Recall all Hessian personnel within 60 days. Do that, and the file containing your activities will remain sealed. You walk away with your career intact, just not your dignity.
And if I refuse?
Then the file goes public. Your government will recall you in disgrace, and the Hessen Trade Consulate will be expelled within a week.
I would need some concession, a face-saving excuse.
There is no negotiation. This is an offer, not a discussion. You have 24 hours to accept.
She has stripped me of every alternative. This room is my cage. I understand. You will have my answer within the hour.
He walked out through the polished corridors, past silent aides who averted their eyes. The building's walls seemed to narrow. Kamara remained at the table, the folder still open. She closed it gently, then picked up her tea. Voss returned to the consulate and summoned his closest staff to the private meeting room.
Effective immediately, we begin packing. The consulate will cease operations by month's end.
Shock rippled through the assembled officers. This was not a negotiation, it was an announcement. A junior attaché, standing near the back, protested. We cannot let them win this easily.
They won 3 years ago. We are simply learning the score.
The attaché shrank back, silenced by the weight of Voss's glare and the hopelessness of the situation.
The timetable is non-negotiable. Secure all sensitive materials, recall off-site personnel, and prepare the building for transfer. One insubordinate fool, but the rest must comply, or we are all ruined.
Outside the meeting room, murmurs spread like poison. The consulate was closing. The humans had won. By evening, the consulate fell into a fearful silence, as if the building itself held its breath. At 2 in the morning, the junior attaché who had protested silently bypassed the consulate's secure archive. He copied a selection of logs, everything that suggested the Terrans had been running an illegal surveillance operation beneath a diplomatic mission. The data was compressed and uploaded to an old diplomatic courier channel, addressed to an independent news syndicate in neutral space. The attaché did not realize that 3 meters below his feet, the transfer was flagged instantly.
Director, we have an unauthorized outgoing transmission. Hessian logs marked for public release.
Patricia's voice was calm, but her fingers were already freezing the data stream, buying seconds.
Do not let it leave the building. I am on my way.
Above, the attaché watched the upload progress bar. 53%, then 54%. In the subterranean corridor, Patricia began rerouting the transmission into a containment buffer. The race was on. The consulate was silent, but beneath it, the facility hummed with a sudden lethal focus. The hidden stairwell opened silently. 4 Terran agents in dark tactical gear emerged from the facility into the consulate basement. Patricia's calm voice guided them from below. Comms room, 3rd floor, hostile is still uploading. You have 40 seconds. In the comms room, the attaché watched the progress bar stall at 63%, He glared at the window. A soft clunk sounded against the glass. The courier drone had arrived. Its docking arm extended. The attaché reached for the latch just as the door was kicked open. The lead agent raised a compact disruptor and fired at the window. A blue pulse severed the drone's docking clamp. The drone spiraled into the night, the attaché's data chip clattering uselessly against the brickwork below. He stared at the armed humans surrounding him, his protest dying on his lips. The transmission screen read, "Aborted, 68%, clean capture." No data had left the building.
Package secured. No data left the building.
Voss's personal device pulsed with the silent alarm. A breach in the comms room. He was out of bed before the second pulse. He reached the third floor in under 2 minutes, rope billowing, finding the door open, and his attaché pinned against the console.
What is the meaning of this?
A nearby wall-mounted screen flickered. Patricia's face appeared, calm and unblinking.
Chargé d'affaires, your attaché attempted to leak sensitive data. We contained it. Please ensure this does not happen again.
Voss looked at the attaché, young and trembling, caught in foolish pride, and felt the last of his resistance drain.
Secure him. He will face Hessian judgment.
Without another word, the Terran operatives released their grip and faded back toward the service stairwell. The crumpled drone lay on the windowsill, its bent arm a silent testament to how close they had come. Voss stood alone in the dark, the weight of 3 years pressing down, the sale documents already waiting on his desk. The next morning, pale winter light filtered it into the office. Voss sat before the transfer document, pen in claw. His hand trembled as he pressed the biometric seal. The signature glowed once, then went still. Within the hour, Kamara's tablet pinged with confirmation. She read it without expression and set it aside. By the end of the week, movers in neutral gray coveralls were carrying sealed crates out the service entrance. The Hessian flag was furled without ceremony, its pole left bare against the blue morning sky. A single Terran observer stood at the edge of the loading dock, arms folded, watching. Voss emerged last, briefcase in hand, and paused on the steps. The city bustled past, indifferent.
3 years. Every breath recorded, every secret vacuumed up.
He descended the steps, walked to the waiting car, and did not look back. The building stood empty, its windows dark, waiting for the next story that would never be written. 3 months later, the Terran Historical Preservation Society took possession with little fanfare. Teams of workers scraped away Hessian embellishments and restored the original 1,880 ace moldings. In the sub-basement, a young laborer, stripping old wallpaper, found a heavy door he had not seen on any floor plan. A yellow sign read, "Closed to the public. Structural concerns." The lock was industrial, unbudged by superficial prodding. He tapped the sign, shrugged, and marked it on his tablet as a sealed utility closet. No further inspection required. By the time the museum exhibits were installed, a false wall of period-accurate brick hid the last trace of the basement entrance. Below, the cyan lights never flickered. The hum of the facility continued without pause, its operators unaware of the near miss above. The American flag still hung at the end of the blue corridor, slightly frayed, utterly permanent, and 3 meters above, a worker adjusted the lighting on a wax diplomat, utterly innocent of the world, spinning beneath his feet. The building had finally become what it was always meant to be, a monument to the past, resting on a secret that would guard the future. The museum opened on a crisp spring morning, a red ribbon cut by smiling trustees in period suits. Tourists flowed through halls of wax diplomats and glass cases of treaty scrolls, cameras flashing like static lightning. A school group gathered around a plaque detailing the building's 1,880s glory. The text stopped at 1962, as if time had frozen. The basement door was now hidden behind a display of vintage diplomatic gifts. its yellow warning sign locked away in a curator's drawer 3 meters below. Patricia Cole watched the surveillance feed of the gallery above, a coffee cup balanced on her knee.
Not a single visitor looks down, not one.
The museum above was a perfect fiction of diplomacy and grace. The reality below hummed with the cold logic of national security. The American flag still hung at the end of the blue corridor, a silent sentinel in a world that never knew it was there. Patricia took a sip of cold coffee and resumed her scan. The weight of 60 years held in a single basement. By evening, the museum fell quiet. Windows warm, and from a basement grating, a single pulse of cyan light, the only heartbeat that mattered. A week after the museum opened, in a beige government office without windows, Director Kamara called Patricia for a private meeting. There was no audience, no press release, just Kamara, a small velvet box, and a single sheet of heavy paper.
For exceptional calm under unscheduled circumstances,
It was just a Tuesday.
the best work always is.
Kamara pinned the small silver star to Patricia's lapel. It glinted once, then settled against the dark fabric.
I'll unpin it before I go below. That place doesn't need medals.
She returned to the facility with the commendation in her bag, and by evening it was propped beside her coffee cup, next to the framed photo of a child. The monitors showed the museum above, now quiet. A janitor pushed a mop across the marble, oblivious. The hum of the facility was the only sound. The flag hung unchanged. Nothing had changed, and that was the entire point of 60 years. That night, Patricia Cole shut down her console one final time. The screens went dark in sequence, a familiar ritual. She walked the length of the blue corridor, her footsteps the only sound. Past the steel doors, the glowing wall screens, at the far end, the American flag hung in the still air. She stopped, reached up, and let her fingers brush the frayed edge.
60 years on that wall, and not one visitor ever saw it.
She turned and began the ascent. The stairwell was cold and silent, but the hum of the facility never quite left her. Below, a younger agent slid into the chair Patricia had left, adjusting the headset with hands that were not yet steady. The screens lit up again, the feeds just as they were, a janitor in the museum, a taxi on Wall Street, a quiet city. Above, the museum was dark, the last guard locking the front doors. The basement remained closed. Structural concerns. The facility hummed on, untouched by the city's sleep. The flag hung straight in the conditioned air, and somewhere on the Upper West Side, Patricia locked her apartment door and poured a glass of water, the taste of 60 years in a single sip. Years later, an ivory invitation arrived at her apartment. The museum's annual gala, with her name in calligraphy.
They still send these, but I belong below the marble, not on top of it.
She set the card on the mantel and instead took her coat. The rain outside was light, the kind that softened city noise. She walked along Wall Street as the lamps flickered on. The museum glowed warm in the dusk, a few guests already ascending the stairs. She did not join them. Instead, she paused by the basement grating, where the faintest cyan light pulsed like a sleeping heartbeat.
Still there. Still secret. Good.
She continued down the street, blending into the evening crowd. Just another New Yorker, carrying the weight of the world beneath her coat. 3 meters below the street, a new agent sat at the old desk. A half-eaten tuna sandwich rested beside the coffee cup. Next to the child's photo, the American flag still hung, a little more frayed, a little more permanent. And in the original basement, behind a false wall, a hairline crack in the old brick pulsed with the same cyan light, still waiting. In the forgotten storage room, the crack in the old brick pulsed with cyan light, its rhythm unchanged across the decades. The building above slept, its windows dark, the museum silent. A faint blue glow escaped the basement grating, the only sign of the world below. Through layers of history, brick, steel, concrete, the facility stretched, a vertical secret anchored in the Manhattan bedrock. In the corridor, the American flag still hung, unfurled and patient, bathed in the cold blue light. Its threads were worn, the fabric slightly frayed at the edge, but its colors still bold. The screens blinked with data, traffic cameras, satellite feeds, a quiet city asleep. The watch continued, and at the far end, the flag stood sentinel as it had since before humanity reached the stars. 47 Wall Street operational since 1962. The city hummed above, unaware, just as it had always been, and beneath it all, the light never dimmed.